Hello everybody in the chess world, and today I'm going to show you 4 exercises for you to solve. And before giving up the solution for whoever who might have not resolved the problem, I'll give you a little clue before revealing the thing. And the 4 positions are going to be position of finishing the game. We'll be already winning, but what you'll have to do is that finding the move that defines the game, ends up the game for real. So the first 3 we'll be taking up examples from game that I played, and the last one will be one from 2 GMs, so much better. So let's go to the first position, which is this one. So first, take a few moments to see the position. You'll see that I have white here, and I'm incredibly winning because, well, look at black's positions. It's an awful position. So okay, still there is one move that is much stronger than all the rest, and to find that I'm gonna ask you to pause the video and think. Okay, for anyone who couldn't solve the problem, here goes the clue. You know how we always say that chess exercises are much easier than having to find a move on a real game, because on a real game there's not this little angel telling us why to play and win, stuff like that, which is true. Well, the clue is that in this case, the fact that I told you that there is one move that is much stronger than the rest will make it harder for you to find the move. Okay, so stop the video and think a little bit more with that clue. Okay, so the strongest move is one that we will play if we had decided that we couldn't find anything decisive. This is, again, something that is a little bit paradoxical, because the position is already super winning for white. So when I told you, look for something special, well, you might be thinking about, well, maybe we have to start with c takes d6 or something to open up the position and, make a super breakthrough. But rook ab1 is what I played. And again, probably if after some minutes you said, okay, I don't find anything concretely, I'll just play rook ab1. Well, that is a move. What you had to see is that this move wins a piece. Okay, so that was the detail. Why? Well, in fact, my opponent resigned here because, well, we are hitting the knight on b7 here. And after, well, rook b8, we simply have rook b2. We're threatening rook fb1, and there's nothing to do about that because, the knight is going to be pinned because of, well, the unprotected rook behind them on b8, right here. Well, going back a little bit, we couldn't protect the knight from here because now, we do have this d takes and hitting. So that is like the only tactical details you had to see. Now, white is just going to continue with rook fb1 and win a piece. So, okay. Not a particularly difficult one, but, well, still not the easiest. Okay, let's go to the next one, again from a game of mine. We arrived to this position. I was black, and it was my turn to move. So, well, in this case, I don't know if I had been so winning before, but here there is basically a winning sequence. Pause the video and think. Okay, for those of you who haven't found the right solution, I'll give you the clue. There's not going to be any tricks now with the clue. The clue is the most obvious one, but I have to remark it. White's king is too weak. White's king is weak enough to give me 1,000 tactical shots. So, really have that in your minds, and now pause the video and think. So, okay. Before showing you the solution, I'll tell you, you will be able to see how in every move, White's king is the one allowing me to have the tactical shots, okay? Have that in mind. Because, first move is quite obvious. Rook f8 check will force the king to, g1. Really, really weak square. And now, bishop takes b6, b5 is the boom shakalaka of the position. So, well, First of all, white cannot recapture with the rook. That will really show how white's king is the one allowing me to do tricks and stuff. But of course, he recaptured with the queen. Bishop takes d4 check. And again, it is important that this is check, because otherwise, maybe white will have an intermediate queen takes queen just to get out of the troubles that we're going to see on the game. So again, important that is check and the weakness of the white king. Knight takes. Queen d2 is what you all had to calculate, because in here we're both hitting the mate on f2 and the knight on d4. And yeah, of course, he played the only move that saves himself from both. Knight f3, the knight escapes the attack of the queen and blocks the f-file. But again, in calculation, probably seeing this position, it wasn't so hard to see for you guys. That first we have this check, again, problem is the king, and again, the king is getting to the square where we actually wanted it, and again, here is, boom in your face. Rook takes f3 was the idea. Problem for white is that, again, always problems with the king. G takes, this is again check, and we are also hitting this rook right here, so yeah, we're again forcing the king to his worst square. And the last move that you had to see in calculation when you started all of this with that first rook f8 check, it was again rook f8. Because now, well, we have enough mating threats to force just one possible defensive move for white, which my opponent played, which was queen f1. But after queen e3 check, king g2, queen takes e4 check. Okay, the game followed king g3. I gave a bunch of more checks just to be precise, but eventually I just took his queen and also took the d-pawn, and that led to a totally winning position. So it didn't take me much longer to win the game. So a somewhat, maybe a little bit long line, but pretty forced. There were no branches to see. Everything is quite forced. So not so bad. Now let's go to the third example. Last one from a game that I play, and again with the black pieces. So I had this position with the black pieces, and it was my turn. White just played king g2. So again, I'm totally winning here. And if I were to ask you to recommend a move, you'll probably quickly find winning moves. For example, c3. I mean, if any of you wants to suggest c3, what can I tell you? Yes, that's winning. That is totally winning. Now, again, as in the other cases, there is one move that is much stronger than the rest. So pause the video and think. Okay, for the clue, for those of you who haven't found the move, there is the clue is at the same time it will be the hint for you to find the move, but the reason why I realized there might be something here. Again, I spoke before about, it's a real game. We don't have the little angel telling us that, there is something special. So we have to figure that out, and for that we have to look at the position. So the clue, and again, what gave me the hint that there will be something here is the light squares are very weak around white's camp. White has really weak light squares, which by the way are filled with white pieces, including his king. So we'll combine weakness on the white squares, on the light squares, heavy presence of white pieces on those weak squares, and a very weak king. So with all that in mind, pause the video and think. Okay, maybe this was the hardest exercises of all. Not super hard, but the move is knight takes f3. This move is the strongest and is winning immediately. Okay, the first thing is, you'll see how in a lot of the lines, one of the problems for white is that I'm going to take this rook. However, to be able to spare that problem, they cannot start by playing rook takes rook because of this knight takes rook check intermediate move, which will give us tons of material. We will need no more. So, okay, my opponent made a mistake here because he took with the king. He took with the queen. The queen. King takes was slightly better. And it's funny because I remember that in the game, what I had seen against this line was bishop takes pawn check. Again, you can see the problem with the tension between these two rooks. So now, yeah, my idea is he won't be able to take with the e1 rook because that will leave this one hanging. And after king g3, I had seen queen c7. And yeah, well, and now if rook takes d8, I can just recapture with the rook. And this is winning, but it wasn't, it was kind of a miscalculation, because in reality, I think computer just gives queen c6 here, like, yeah, like saying, you can be subtle still, because white's position is too weak. But okay, in the game, my opponent played a queen takes f3. So of course I first went rook takes rook. So now he cannot recapture. Well, he did not recapture with the rook because he obviously did not want to lose the queen after that taking. But after queen takes and knight takes e4, he just resigned here, and rightly so. Well, one very curious thing is that, again, I talk about white's weak position. Well, there is no way to escape the potential discover check by, the knight, actually a knight move, but this bishop is right here, and I'll be able to give a discover check with this knight. There's no way to prevent that. It's really funny, and yeah, this position is 100% lost. So let's go to the last example, and this will be the only one that I don't take from a game of mine. This will be right here, but with the white pieces. Okay, so this is Djurhuus versus Groen. I think it's Djurhuus was a GM and Groen an IM in this game. Okay, this game to me is sort of a classic because it's a good example. Well, I like the Shirov-Shabalov's Gambit against the semi-slav defense, which will be, well, I'll show you that really briefly. This is with white. This will be the semi-slav defense for black, and the main line goes queen c2, bishop d6. Now the main move is b3, but I really like this g4 gambit. This is the Shirov-Shabalov's Gambit, and so this game is a really good example of what could happen and what could go right for white in a particular line. So yeah, going back here, this was the position. So here I'm going to ask you to pause the video and think, because although white again is completely winning, there is one move that is much stronger than the rest. Okay, so for whoever who couldn't find the move, I'll give you the clue. And the clue is Messi. Yeah, Lionel Messi. Yeah, the football player. So pause the video and think with that great clue in mind. Okay, I was obviously half joking, but really just half joking. Because, okay, here, if we were to play the, let's say, most obvious move, rook c1, because, yeah, let's go back. I assume that you were all watching, the weakness on this file, mostly c6, c7 point. Yeah, you probably were kind of wanting to play some rook c1. However, if we were to play that, well, queen e4 is check. It's winning a tempo, and it's protecting the c-pawn at the same time. I mean, black will be, of course, total loss, but that's why we had something better. And Djurhuus played first rook g1, which is threatening this amazing check on g7. And what I mean amazing is decisive. We're checking the king, we're checking on c7, forcing queen h6. And then he went back to rook c1. And really, this was kind of like one of the most football-like definitions in a chess game, because yeah, it was like Messi. It's like trying to, hinting that it's going one way, so the goalkeeper in this case, which will be the queen, throws herself down, and now that she's too far away to reach the other line, the other side of the goal, now Messi just, taps the ball, and so the ball gets in without even a goalkeeper. So really cool. I really like this sort of definition. And of course here Groen resigned. There's no way to protect c6, which therefore means there's no way to protect the king and the bishop, and everything's over. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.